back to another video. Today I will be going over 5 very important opening principles that everybody should know. And if you do know these, you are bound to improve. Number 1, learning how to take advantage of a pin. As you can see here, Black's knight is pinned to his king by our bishop. We played this move. We want to take its space of the center. We could possibly take in the future. And if pushes that, takes with the bishop before, takes with the pawn, takes with the pawn. We have a slightly better position. Don't care about what the computer says. It doesn't matter. But here, if in this scenario, Black plays a move like bishop e7, he's preparing to castle. Preparing to castle kingside. There's one move. There's a couple moves actually that you can do. Right now, there's this. This takes advantage of the pin. All right, it completely utilizes the pin. There's a move like this. And top engine move here is to keep the pin, because you always want to keep the pin. It's going to threaten you again. Alright. And now, the pin is so strong, taking with the knight is the best move. Okay? It's the best move. Because after takes, there's nothing they can do about this monstrous pin. Okay? Nothing they can do. And the game's essentially lost. He's probably going to castle. But it doesn't matter, because you're up a piece, and your position isn't looking bad. You'll probably castle kingside. But if you want to, castling queenside does allow you to push these pawns on this file towards his king. Principle 2, important places for the knights. Here we have a common line from the Ruy Lopez Berlin defense. And in 1,000, actually from 100 elo to 1,500 elo, your opponents are very prone to blundering in the opening. And this gives you massive advantage. Okay? So here, he plays this move, d5. Not good at all, right? His idea maybe that if you take, he takes. Oh, he has a better knight position, whatnot, right? But instead of taking and giving his knight a great place to go, why don't you put your knight in one of the center squares? Knights love to be here. It's where they feel the most comfortable. It's where they'll best perform. Okay? Notice how this is still pinned. So he can't take the knight back. And now he's in trouble, right? Now, there's not a lot he can do. You have a completely winning position. You have a knight in the center of the board. Principle 3, finding weaknesses in your opponent's position. Most of these examples, they're all going to look the same. They target different things, though, okay? Here, he once again played this move. Idea is to develop here. We can take this pawn. I'll tell you why. When you take this pawn, it removes this pawn. And what was protecting this pawn, or what was this pawn blocking? It was protecting the queen. So after retakes, we take here. He takes with the bishop. After, we can actually just take right here. Once again, putting your knights in crucial places. Putting our knights in the center of the board here, completely dominating his position. Okay, if he castles, horrible move by the way. You just take, it's completely winning. 100% winning, you have a dominant position. He can't even take this pawn because it's protected by the bishop. Okay, here's another example of weaknesses. So, oh yes, sorry. So, I was going to give an example of the Caro-Kann. So, you basically, once you get to about 1,000, you'll want to know the ideas of other openings. Now, I messed it up with the Sicilian, but the Caro-Kann. The Caro-Kann's idea is trade off pawns, right? It turns a side pawn into a centi pawn, and yeah, and its main idea is to castle kingside, right? So in a standard game, it's played mostly like this. You don't have to take here; it doesn't matter. And it says here that black is winning, or it's dead equal. Sorry. Here, black's idea still castle kingside. He can't do anything on the queen side because it's not developed. Your queen side's completely free. Your position is much better. I would take your position any day of the week. Now black can play something like e6, get his bishop out. It doesn't really matter. This doesn't matter because you can play stuff like this and then just castle. But the point is, the Caro-Kann opens up his queen side. You now know what to target. You're only going to want to target the king side. So as soon as you make moves like this, and then push your pawns, it's very easy to play for you. Although it may be equal in a sense, is 100% easier for your opponent to make mistakes. Principle 4. Center pawn importance. So here, King's Gambit, Queen's Gambit are the most popular openings. Well, Queen's Gambit's probably more popular. Queen's Gambit is the most popular opening among high-level players. Now, there's multiple reasons why this is, but most of it is because center pawns. Center pawns are a crucial point of the game. It's where most of your pieces develop around, and they're usually the front of pawn chains. So they're usually the strongest pawns. Alright, so, sorry, let's, in the King's Gambit here, the idea is to give off a side pawn for black's center pawn, with the idea to take it back with the bishop after. In this position, white has two center pawns. He's about to have a lead in development. In black's position is not that good. As you can see, 0 pawns developed. He's going to have to develop this bishop before he can push this pawn. And it's just not a good position for him. The King's Gambit, central idea is just to take this pawn back. But central pawns are very important. I cannot stress this enough. They're very important. They lead to endgame wins. They're the strongest pawn in usually most of your pawn chains. And they're very, very important. Principle 5. Common opening mistakes that you'll see. So, 1, you don't calculate. Opening may be like, oh yes, I don't need to calculate, but you can get into a sticky situation very, very quickly. And I cannot stress this enough. The opening position is where the most mistakes are made. Although it may seem simple, it is where the most beginner mistakes are made. And the opening sets you up for the whole rest of the game, so it is important and crucial not to make mistakes in the opening. Alright, so here, it's black to move. I don't know how you'd get a position like this. There's many positions where you can get something like this. It's similar. The King's Gambit is one. But yeah, the main idea is your opponent should always be looking for checks, captures, and attacks. Like Levy Rossman says, here we have this completely crushing move. Plays check, and the bishop is unguarded. This is a common beginner mistake, okay? They don't watch out for checks. Okay? So, in the opening, if you ever feel like you're in trouble, look for enemy checks, captures, and attacks in response to your move. This may seem a little advanced, but if it is, just play a higher time control because it's not that big of a deal. And black just gets a free bishop here. Targeting the pawn too. It's gonna be over for white very soon, right? Well, I guess that was somehow wrong. Oh yes, because I put a bishop there, but oh yeah, that was taken. All right. Yeah. So that's the 5 main principles you should learn. They'll help you win 60-70% of your openings. And I cannot stress this enough. If you practice, you will get better. Thank you for watching. Peace.